I never thought I'd end up in a courtroom, staring down my own blood like they were strangers who'd robbed me blind. But there I was, 78 years young, with a gavel about to drop on the life I'd built from scraps. All because my son decided loyalty was just another word for leverage. And the kicker? It started with a simple bank account for my great-grandson, little Tommy, who turned 8 last month and still thinks the world runs on promises grandmas keep. You see, betrayal isn't always a knife in the back. Sometimes it's a signature on a form, a quiet erasure of your name from the dotted line. Mine came wrapped in a Hallmark card, the kind with balloons and happy retirement, signed by my daughter-in-law, Claire, who'd always called me Mom, with that honey-drip southern lilt she faked so well after marrying into the family. She'd been the one to suggest the joint account for Tommy's college fund, back when he was still in diapers. Adeline, darling, you're the rock here. Let's make it official. I signed over power of attorney that day, thinking it was love, not a noose. But love's a funny thing in America, turns sour faster than milk in a Midwest heatwave. By the time Tommy hit kindergarten, Claire had siphoned off every dime, funneling it into her and my son Ethan's investment opportunities, real estate flips in Phoenix. She called them Ponzi dreams. More like. I found out when the bank called, voice flat as a cornfield. Mrs. Hargrove, your account's overdrawn. And we've got instructions to freeze it. Overdrawn? That fund was my life savings from nursing shifts at Cook County. Double shifts after Ethan's dad skipped out when he was 10. I'd clawed for every penny. Even took the fall for Ethan's first screw-up, covering for him when he hot-wired the neighbor's Chevy at 16. Telling the cops it was me joyriding after a bad date. Juvenile record sealed. But mine? It stuck like tar. Costing me promotions. Trust. Everything. I drove to the bank that afternoon, rain pounding my old Buick like it was trying to wash away the shame. The teller, a kid with tattoos peeking from her collar, handed me the paperwork. There it was, Claire's elegant script authorizing the transfers, Ethan's co-signature buried in the fine print. And at the bottom, a new rider, revoke Adeline Hargrove's access effective immediately. They weren't just stealing, they were erasing me. Tommy's account? Denied. Family policy, the manager mumbled, avoiding my eyes. Policy. Like I was some policy they could rewrite. That night, I sat in my shotgun house on the south side, the one I'd bought with widow's benefits and stubborn grit, staring at the eviction notice they'd slipped under the door. Ethan had leveraged my house for one of those flips, a crumbling strip mall in Tucson that went belly up when the market tanked. Now the bank's calling in the note. And guess whose name was on the mortgage? Mine. Claire's idea. Of course. Mom, it's safer this way. Tax benefits. Safer for them. They'd try to close my credit lines too, canceled my cards, flagged my Social Security deposits as suspicious. I was a ghost in my own life. Penniless at an age when most folks are sipping margaritas in Florida. Rage doesn't hit like a freight train. It simmers, slow and black as Chicago river sludge. I poured a tumbler of bourbon, cheap stuff from the corner liquor store, and pulled out the shoebox from under my bed. Letters from Ethan as a kid, drawings from Tommy, and buried deepest, the police report from '98. The one where I'd confessed to that car theft, shielding him from juvie. He'd promised to make it right, sworn on his daddy's grave. But promises are paper in a storm. By dawn, I'd made calls. Not to Ethan, God. No. To Maloney, the ambulance chaser who'd handled my divorce 20 years back. Adeline. Honey, You got a case thicker than a White Sox lineup, he rasped over the line. Chain smoking audible even through the phone. We met at his office off Michigan Avenue. Walls papered in yellowed diplomas and faded Cubs pennants. I laid it all out. The fraud. The forgery. The fall I'd taken for Ethan. Maloney's eyes lit up like he'd hit the lottery. This ain't just theft, Addie. It's elder abuse. Fiduciary breach. Maybe RICO if we dig into those flips. But the real bomb? That old confession. You perjured yourself for him. We flipped that script. And they're done. Perjury. The word hung heavy, tasting like ash. I'd lied to protect my boy. Buried that secret so deep it scarred my soul. But now? It was my weapon. We filed the papers that week. Emergency injunction to freeze their assets. Countersuit for fraud. And the shocker. A motion to unseal my '98 record. Proving Ethan was the real thief all those years ago. It'll drag him through the mud, Maloney warned. Expose Tommy to it all. I nodded. Throat tight. Mud? He'd drown me in it first. Words spread like wildfire through the family grapevine. Aunt Rita called. Voice shrill. Adeline. Have you lost your mind? Ethan's your son. Cousin Lou texted. This is low. Even for you. Low? I'd raised Ethan alone after his father ran off with a casino girl in Vegas. Worked nights so he could chase baseball scholarships that never panned out. Claire? She'd slithered in from Alabama with her pageant smile and real estate license, whispering in his ear about cutting the dead weight. Dead weight. That's what I was now, an old lady blocking their climb. Ethan showed up that Friday, pounding on my door like it owed him rent. Rain-slicked hair. Tie askew. The same boyish charm that once melted judges. Mom. What the hell? You can't do this. He barged in, dripping on my linoleum, Claire trailing like a shadow in her cashmere coat. She didn't meet my eyes, smart woman. Adeline. Please. This is family. We can work it out. Work it out. I laughed. Bitter as black coffee. Like how you worked out Tommy's fund into your Botox budget? Ethan's face twisted, anger. Then that flip. The one he'd mastered young. Puppy dog eyes. Voice cracking. I was protecting you. Mom. The market's rough. Those flips were for us, for the legacy. Legacy. He'd always been the schemer. Flipping from golden boy to screw up and back. High school star. Then community college dropout. Then Claire's entrepreneur. She'd egg him on. Then blame me when it soured. I handed him the papers. Still warm from the printer. Read it and weep. Son. Or don't, lawyer up. He scanned the lines, color draining like ink in water. The car thing? Mom. That was ancient history. You said it was buried. Buried. Yeah, under my regrets. Claire snatched the page, her manicure catching the light. This is blackmail. We'll countersue for defamation. Defamation? Try truth serum. They left in a huff, tires squealing on the wet street. I locked the door, heart hammering, and poured another bourbon. Tommy's face flashed innocent, gap-toothed grin at our last picnic in Grant Park, chasing pigeons while Ethan checked his phone. Would this break him? The kid deserved better than this circus. But so did I. Revenge wasn't pretty. It was a mirror, cracked and reflecting all the ugly we'd ignored. Weeks blurred into depositions, the kind that suck the air from a room. Maloney grilled Claire under fluorescent lights, her poise cracking like cheap veneer. Mrs. Hargrove. Explain the $47,000 transfer to your sister's offshore account. Coincidence. She flipped from victim to viper. Adeline's unstable. Always has been. That car story? She's delusional. Delusional. The words stung. But I'd heard worse from ER psych wards. Ethan played both sides, testifying one day with teary apologies. "I love my mom, Your Honor," then leaking to the tabloids the next. Estranged widow's vendetta against successful son. The Chicago Sun-Times ate it up. Family feud turns ugly. Grandma's gambit or greedy grudge? Neighbors whispered at the Jewel-Osco. Eyes sliding away when I grabbed my canned soup. Aunt Rita unfriended me on Facebook. Even Father O'Malley at St. Agatha's pulled me aside after Mass. Forgiveness? Adeline. It's the Christian way. Christian? Tell that to the widow left penniless. But the tension built like a summer squall. Dark clouds rolling in off Lake Michigan. I started sleeping with a .38 under my pillow, not for them, but for the what-ifs that haunted my dreams. Tommy's birthday came and went, no invite. Just a crayon card slipped in the mail slot. Miss you. Nana. Daddy says you're sick. Sick. That's what they told him. Maloney uncovered more dirt. Emails from Claire to a Phoenix developer. Ethan's mom is leverage. Threaten the house. He'll sign. And Ethan's reply, do it. She's held me back long enough. Held back. I'd footed his law school loans after the baseball bust. Only for him to drop out and find himself in Claire's bed. The secret festered. That '98 theft wasn't joyriding. He'd stolen the car to fence parts for drug money, his first brush with the wrong crowd. I'd confessed to keep him clean, thinking one lie could save him. It didn't. Just chained me to silence. The hearing loomed, a coliseum of polished wood and perjured souls. I practiced my testimony in the mirror, lines etched deeper than ever. I did it for love, I'd say. But love don't pay the bills. Controversial? Hell yes. Airing family laundry in public court, dragging a dead sin into the light, it split folks down the middle. Was I the vengeful hag? Or the betrayed matriarch? Pundits on WGN debated it over coffee ads. Empowering elder or destructive diva? As the dates circled, Ethan flipped again, late-night voicemail. Voice slurred. Mom. Call it off. For Tommy. I'll make it right. Right. Like the time he made right by pawning my wedding ring for a down payment on their first flip. I deleted it. Stealing for the storm. Revenge wasn't about winning. It was about the fight, the raw, ugly truth that no one walks away clean. The courthouse on Dearborn Street smelled of old varnish and desperation. A cathedral to American justice where the poor pray and the guilty posture. I arrived early. Maloney at my elbow. His cheap cologne cutting the stale air. Stick to the script. Addie. Hit him with the heartstrings. Then the hammer. Heartstrings. Mine were frayed threads by then. The gallery buzzed, family mostly. Faces I'd known since baptismal fonts. Aunt Rita, in the front row, clutching rosaries like grenades. Tommy wasn't there. Claire's doing? No doubt. Judge Harlan, a silver fox with a no-nonsense squint, banged the gavel. Mrs.
Hargrove. Hargrovial.
Let's keep it civil.
Folks.
Ethan took the stand first. Sue crisp as a fresh bill. Eyes locking on mine with that practiced remorse. Your Honor, my mother's a saint. Raised me single-handed after Dad left. But age. It clouds judgment.
Clouds.
Like I was the storm, not the eye. He spun the yarn. The account was mutual. The transfers, investments gone south. My pseudo cry for attention. The jury, 12 strangers. Mix of blue collar and buttoned up, leaned in, some nodding like he was preaching gospel. Claire followed, all pearl earrings and pious eyes. Adeline's been declining. Forgets things. We were protecting her from herself. Protecting. From the woman who'd rocked her to sleep during chemo visits? Claire'd beaten breast cancer young. I'd driven her to every radiation zap. Held her hair while she puked. Gratitude's a short fuse. Maloney crossfired. MS. Hargrove. Your emails suggest otherwise. Leverage the house. Poetic. Or predatory. She flipped. Venom spilling. She owed us. For all the handouts. The meddling. Ethan's life would have been golden without her guilt trips. The gallery gasped. Aunt Rita crossed herself.
Meddling?
Try mothering a boy who burned every bridge I built. Then it was my turn. I hobbled up, knees like rusty hinges, and faced the room. No notes. Just truth. Raw as a gut punch. I came here thinking family was forever. But forever's a lie when it's built on my back. I laid it bare, the nursing shifts, the widow's scraps, the car confession. I told the cops it was me. Stole that Chevy to cover for Ethan. He was 16. Scared. In over his head with bad friends. I thought one lie would fix him. It didn't. But I carried it for love. Murmurs rippled. Ethan's face crumpled. Real this time? Or theater? Mom, he whispered. But the judge silenced him. Maloney dropped the bomb. The unsealed record. Projected on screen like a bad home movie. My faded mugshot. Ethan's juvenile file cracked open. Gasps turned to shockwaves. Perjury for a son who repays it by bleeding you dry? Maloney boomed. That's not family. Your honor. That's felony. Claire bolted up. Objection. Irrelevant. But Harlan overruled. Eyes narrowing. Let it play. Counselor. The room split. Half the jury hardened. The other softened. Torn between blood and betrayal.
Entry to show bed openly.
Was I monster or martyr? The line blurred. Controversy thick as fog off the lake. Recess hit like a mercy kill. I stepped into the hall, lungs burning, only to find Ethan cornering me by the vending machines. You bitch, he hissed. Close enough I smelled his aftershave, same as his father's. Dragging that up? In front of everyone? Tommy'll hate you. Hate me? The kid who'd climb my oak tree for stories of Al Capone? He'll hate you more when he learns the truth. I shot back. You flipped on me, Ethan. Again. From boy to thief to liar. He grabbed my arm, bruise-worthy grip, then released. Flipping to plea. Please.
Mom. Drop it.
I'll pay back every cent. Every cent. From what? Their McMansion in Naperville. Leased on fumes? Claire peered. Yanking him away. She's poison. Let's go.
Poison.
But.
Kettle.
Back in session. The tide turned. Harlan grilled them, Mr. Hargrove. You knew of this perjury. Ethan stammered.
Sweat beading. I
appreciated it. But it's past.
Past.
Until it wasn't. Expert witnesses piled on, forensic accountant tracing the siphoned funds to Claire's spa getaways. Psychologist testifying to emotional coercion on elders. The air crackled. Tension coiling like a spring. Closing arguments sealed the split. Maloney painted me as the American dream deferred, hardworking widow, betrayed by kin chasing the brass ring. Their lawyer, slick as a used car salesman, flipped it, vindictive elder, weaponizing history to destroy a family's future.
Destroy? They had.
But the jury deliberated into dusk, emerging divided, 10-2 for us. The holdouts weeping over family sanctity. Verdict: injunction granted. Assets frozen. Fraud charges pending. And the shocker? Restitution. Full repayment. Plus punitive damages that'd gut their lifestyle. Cheers from my corner. Silence from theirs. Ethan stared, hollow-eyed, as bailiffs led them out for processing. Claire spat. This isn't over, Adeline. Over? It was just beginning. But as I left the courthouse, rain easing to mist, Tommy's card burned in my pocket. Victory tasted like bile, sweet, then sour. Had I saved him from their greed, or scarred him with our sins? The papers hit the stands next day. Grandma's revenge rocks family empire. Debates raged online, forums splitting hairs on forgiveness versus fortitude.
Me?
I drove home to my shotgun house, now safe from auction, and cracked a window to the night air. Freedom's quiet, but it echoes. Yet the twist came weeks later, in a manila envelope postmarked Naperville. Inside, a check for the full amount, scribbled note from Ethan. You win,
Mom.
but you lost us. Lost us. Like I hadn't lost everything first. Tucked beneath, custody papers. He'd filed for sole guardianship of Tommy, citing my unstable behavior in court. The old record, my admission of theft, it painted me criminal. Unfit. Flip again, from victim to villain in one legal slight. I stared at the forms, hands shaking. Call Maloney?
Fight?
Or let go? Let the boy chase fireflies without our shadows? The phone rang, Tommy's school. Voice tentative, Mrs. Hargrove, your great-grandson asked if you could pick him up. His parents. They're delayed. In lockup. More like. I grabbed my keys. Not for revenge this time, but redemption. Or ruin. Who knew? In America, endings aren't tidy. They're debates you carry home, wondering if the papers you filed shocked the world, or just shattered your own. That pickup was the real hook, the one that yanked me back into the fray when I thought I'd clawed free. Tommy waited on the curb outside Lincoln Elementary, backpack sagging like a defeated soldier, his sneakers scuffed from kickball wars. 8 years old, all gangly limbs and freckles, waving like I was the sun breaking clouds. Nana, he yelled, barreling into my legs. I hugged him fierce, inhaling that kid smell of crayons and playground dirt, wondering how many more I'd get. The principal hovered, clipboard clutched like a shield. Mrs. Hargrove.
We.
Appreciate you stepping in. With a situation. Code for scandal splashed across the Trib's metro section. I nodded, chin high. Anytime. Ms.
Rivera.
Family's family. She winced, touchy word. These days. We drove in silence at first. Wipers swiping at the drizzle. Classic rock murmuring from the radio, Springsteen crooning about Born to Run ghosts. Tommy fiddled with the vent, stealing glances. Is Daddy in trouble? The kids say you're fighting like on TV.
TV.
Like our mess was reality schlock, not raw ruin. Grown-up stuff.
Kiddo.
But hey, ice cream fixes most of it. He grinned, gap flashing. But his eyes, Eth's eyes, held shadows too big for 8. At Dairy Queen, under fluorescent buzz, he spilled. Mommy cried last night. Said you hate us.
Hate.
Word like a slap from a stranger. I spoon soft serve. Vanilla melting slow. Nah.
Tommy.
Hate's heavy. I love you fierce, that's why I fought. So you got a future not built on sand. He nodded, processing like only kids do. Then, can I still come for pancakes? Pancakes. My Saturday ritual. Blueberry stacks in the shotgun kitchen. Every weekend. Promise. Dropping him at their place felt like handing over a hostage. The McMansion loomed. All vinyl siding and manicured lawn. A facade of success cracked by foreclosure notices taped to the door. Claire answered, raccoon-eyed from crying or coke. Hard to tell. What did you poison him with now? She hissed. Low so Tommy wouldn't hear. Poison. Again. Truth.
Claire.
Tastes bitter. I know. She yanked him inside. Door slamming like a period. I sat in the Buick, engine idling, watching shadows dance behind curtains. Ethan's silhouette paced. Phone to ear, lawyer. No doubt. The custody bid was his masterstroke, flipping my victory into vulnerability. Unfit grandma. Criminal past. It'd stick if I didn't counter. Maloney's office, next morning. Cigar ash dusting his desk like fallout. They got a shot. Addie. That perjury looks bad. Altruistic or not. Courts hate liars. Liar. Echoed in my skull. What if I withdraw the fraud suit? Trade for visitation. He puffed.
Considering.
Weakens your hand. But yeah. Leverage. Leverage. Their word. Now mine. I hated the fit. Negotiations dragged. A trench war of emails and conference calls. Ethan played penitent. Mom. Let's mediate. For Tommy. Mediate. In a beige room off Wacker Drive. Neutral ground with fake ferns and bad coffee. We sat across a table scarred by 1,000 grudges. Mediator droning like a somnolent bee. Claire led. All business. Adeline signs over the house deed, full transfer, and we drop custody.
House.
My anchor. Bought with blood money from overtime veins. No, I said flat. You stole enough. She leaned in. Voice silk over steel. Stole? You gifted it. Remember? For the family legacy. Gifted. Twisted like a pretzel. Ethan flipped mid-meat. From conciliatory to combative. God. Mom. Always the martyr. That car crap. You did it to control me. Control. Laughter bubbled. Dark and unwanted. Control? I covered your ass so you could chase dreams. You pissed him away. The mediator cleared throat. Personal attacks aside. But attacks flew. Claire accusing me of emotional sabotage, me countering with bank statements. Her spa receipts glaring like indictments. Tension peaked when Ethan slammed the table. You ruined my life. Ruined. From the boy I'd bandaged after Little League wipeouts to this, a man blaming his mirror. We broke for lunch. Air thick as gumbo.
Outside.
Under looped shadows. I lit a rare smoke, Marlboro menthol. Vice from nursing days.
Entrito textid. Mediation. Lord. Girl.
Pray.
Pray.
I'd tried. In pews worn smooth by widows like me. God stayed silent. Afternoon brought the flip I didn't see. Ethan's offer. Drop everything.
Mom.
I'll deed you a condo in Florida, sunny retirement. Florida. Where dreams go to die. Shuffleboard and early bird specials. And Tommy. I pressed. Visitation. Supervised.
You're.
Volatile. Volatile. For fighting back? Pass. Claire's eyes gleamed. Machiavellian heels. Suit yourself. Court it is. We'll paint you blacker than your record. Blacker. The secret weighed heavier. That 98 Lia noose tightening. Had I doomed myself for a son who'd sell me out twice? That night. Insomnia gnawed. I wandered the house. Ghosts in every corner. Ethan's high school jersey framed in the hall. Tommy's finger paint on the fridge. Pulled the shoebox again. Letters yellowing. One from Ethan. Post-college. Mom. You're my hero. Won't let you down.
Hero.
To 0. Dawn brought resolve. Called Maloney. Filed a response. Full custody counter. Me versus them. He whistled.
Bold.
Addie. Jury sees the theft. The flips, they might buy it. But controversial as hell. Taking a kid from his parents. Controversial.
Yeah.
Folks split. Heroic rescue or heartless hijack. The counterfiling hit like a grenade. Sun-Times headline. Grandma's gambit escalates. Custody war in wake of fraud fallout. Talk radio buzzed, callers raging. She's a saint. Versus kidnapping kin for spite. Polarized. Just like the courtroom promise. Ethan exploded via voicemail. You're insane. Tommy's ours.
Ours.
Like property. Claire followed. Text venom. Bitch. You'll never see him. Never. Word like finality. But Tommy slipped through. A school bus drop-off mix-up. Principal apologetic. We picnicked in Jackson Park. Under ancient oaks. Hot dogs from a cart steaming in chill air. Nana. Why the fight, he asked. Ketchup smeared. I paused. Searching for simple. 'Cause some grown-ups forget what's important.
But you?
You're it. He hugged. Small arms, iron bands. Worth the war? Every scar. As leaves turned rust. Hearings stacked like cordwood. Psych evals. Home studies. My shotgun house deemed cozy but cluttered. There's spacious yet unstable. Unstable. Money woes make monsters. Turns out. The antagonist deepened. Turns out Claire'd been flipping more than houses, affairs. Whispers from a PI Maloney hired. One with Ethan's old college buddy. Funding her side hustle. Ethan knew, flipped blind. Or complicit. Didn't matter. It fueled my fire. Climax brewed in family court. A chamber smaller but sharper. Judge Ruiz, a no-frills Latina, with eyes like lasers. Guardianship of Thomas Hargrove, she intoned. Witnesses paraded, teachers praising my nurturing bond, social worker noting Ethan's erratic employment. Then Claire. Tear-streaked, Adeline's vengeful. Exposed our family to shame.
Shame.
But shattered. My turn. I took the fall for Ethan once. Won't let Tommy pay for their mistakes.
Gasps.
The lie laid bare again.
Raw.
Ruiz leaned forward. Perjury's serious. Mrs. Hargrove. Altruism doesn't erase it. Erase.
No.
But it explained. Ethan testified last. Breaking, voice cracking. Mom saved me.
But this.
It's killing us.
Killing.
Hyperbole. Or truth. Jury 6 this time. Diverse as a subway car, deliberated overnight. Verdict dropped at dawn's crack. Joint custody. Me primary weekends and holidays. Best interest of the child. Ruiz ruled. With monitored finances.
Cheers.
Muted. Ethan stormed out. Claire trailing like smoke. Victory.
Pyrrhic.
But the twist twisted deeper. Post-hearing. Maloney pulled me aside. One more thing.
Addie.
That 98 file? Ethan's signature on a waiver. He confessed privately years ago. Buried it to protect his career.
Confessed. Knew.
And let me rot in silence. The ultimate flip, love to lie. Back to love? Or just self-preservation? I confronted him in the parking garage. Rain resuming its dirge. You knew. He nodded. Rain masking tears. Thought it'd hurt you more. Hurt. Like a fresh wound. Forgive me, he begged. Forgive. The debate eternal, grace or grudge. I walked away. Umbrella blooming black. Tommy waited at home. Pancakes sizzling. Endings in America? Their choices. Messy as election nights. Leaving you arguing with mirrors. Pancakes became our ritual. A fragile truce in the ceasefire. Tommy flipped M with glee. Batter splattering like abstract art. While I sipped coffee black as my mood. Nana. Tell me about the old days, he'd beg. Perched on a stool too tall for his legs. Old days, Chicago winters skating on frozen ponds. Summers dodging fireflies in alley lots. Stories sans the scars. Edited for innocence. But innocence phrase. He caught Ethan and Claire arguing through the wall one supervised visit. Voices spiking over her meddling. Meddling. My new title. Etched in custody logs. Weekends were mine. Court-mandated oases amid the rubble. I'd bundle him for Lake Michigan strolls. Waves crashing like applause. Skipping stones till our hands numbed. Why can't I live here always, he'd ask. Mittened fist in mine. Always. Word too big for our blueprint. 'Cause life's a puzzle.
Kid.
Pieces fit funny sometimes. Ethan hovered. A ghost in the machine, text checking in. How's he eating? Like I was the interloper. We met for handoffs at neutral ground, Panera in Oak Park. Bread bowl steam veiling awkward silences. He'd arrived disheveled. Tie loose. Claire absent more often.
She's.
Adjusting, he'd mutter. Adjusting. To the frozen assets? Or the PI photos Maloney accidentally mailed. Her with that buddy in a Reno motel?
I didn't gloat much.
Focus on Tommy. Ethan. Not the score. But scores settle slow in the heartland. Resentment brewing like craft IPA. Aunt Rita thawed first. Coffee clutch at her bungalow. Adeline. You're brave.
But Eth.
He's broken. Broken. Like fine china, dropped one too many times. We all are. Rita. Questions who glues first. The real storm hit Thanksgiving, neutral turf. My sister's old farm outside Joliet. Cornstalks rattling like maracas in November wind. Full table. Rita's stuffing. Lou's turkey carved clumsy. Tommy's pie finger-licked. Ethan and Claire showed. Her smile stapled on. His eyes darting like a cornered fox. Toasts clinked to family, but undercurrents swirled. Forks scraping plates like claws. Post-feast. Menfolk vanished to football on the den TV, leaving us women in the kitchen. Suds foaming in the sink. Claire cornered me by the window. Voice low, you got your pound of flesh. Happy.
Flesh.
Biblical.
Bitter.
Happy's for Hallmark.
Claire.
I'm survivin'. She flipped from icy to incendiary. Surviving on our dime. That restitution. It's blood money.
Blood. Hers or mine?
Rita intervened. Dish towel flapping like a white flag. Girls. Enough. But enough's elastic. Claire stormed out. Ethan trailing with apologies. She stressed. The charges. Charges. Fraud trial loomed. Indictments unsealed like Pandora's briefcase. Ponzi whispers grew to roars. Investors circling.
Ceci sniffing.
I drove Tommy home that night. Turkey leftovers jostling in the trunk. His head nodding against the window. Nana.
Vanessa. Sut.
Or scared.
Said it's okay. Buddy.
Means she cares.
Cares.
About what? The facade. Or the fall. December dusted snow on the city. Blanketing sins in white. Christmas loomed. A minefield of traditions. I strung lights on the shotgun house. Blue LEDs twinkling like defiant stars. Tommy helping with hooks and candy canes. For Daddy, he asked. Ornament dangling. For all of us, I lied soft. The eve brought Ethan solo, Claire indisposed, code for bailing to her sisters in Birmingham. He arrived with gifts, wrapped sloppy, and a bottle of my bourbon. Truce. Mom, we sat on the stoop, flakes melting on lashes. Passing the flask. Truce implies war's over, I said.
He sighed.
Steam clouding. I messed up.
Big.
The flips. Claire pushed, but I signed. And the car, God. I confessed to a priest once. Thought it'd cleanse. But telling you, scared it'd break us.
Break.
We were shards already. It did, I admitted. But glue's possible. If you flip one last time to truth.
Truth.
His eyes searched mine, boy peeking through man. I will. Therapy. Restitution plan. For Tommy, optimism's a sucker bet. But I took it. New Year's. We rang in small, me. Tommy. Ethan on speaker from NA meetings. Resolutions whispered. Rebuild. Forgive. Forget? Forget's impossible. It's the scar tissue. But antagonists don't fade. They mutate. Claire resurfaced mid-January. Filing motions. Emergency custody change. Citing my hostile environment. Hostile? For the lights. The stories? Her affidavit dripped poison. Adeline's vendetta endangers the child. Public shaming. Financial warfare. Warfare. Her mirror. Hearing pack the room. Snow boots dripping on tile. Bruise again. Brow furrowed. MS. Hargrove. Explain the escalation.
Claire testified.
All fire. She's obsessed. Turned our son against us. Against. Tommy loved us fractured equal. My counter. Home videos. Tommy's laughter echoing from park playdates. Obsession? Try devotion. Maloney hammered. Petitioner's own troubles. Pending indictments. Marital strain.
Strain.
Claire's affair hit the stand. Photos projected tasteful, but damning.
Gasps.
She flipped to waterworks. A mistake. Ethan's the rock. Ethan? He took the oath. Voice steady. Claire's right. We slipped.
But Mom.
She's poison.
Poison.
The word again. From son to mother. Gallery hushed. What? I whispered.
He met my eyes.
Cold. You filed those papers? Unsealed my youth. For what?
Spite?
Now Tommy knows. Kids at school call him Thief's Kid. You shocked us all.
All right.
Shattered him.
Shattered.
The twist gutted me. Not his knowledge, but the blame. I'd aimed at thieves. Hit the innocent.
Ruiz yearned.
Face grim. Mediation. Mandatory. Or full review. Mediation redux. This time in a church basement, neutral as Nazareth. Pews creaked under weight. Mediator a pastor, with gentle hands. Claire sat rigid. Ethan between us like a buffer. Tommy waited outside with Rita, coloring books his shield. Words warred, accusations, apologies half-baked. You betrayed me first, I said. Ethan countered, and you repaid with ruin.
Ruin.
Circular. Endless. Then the pastor prompted. What for the boy? Silence. Claire softened fraction. Stability. Ethan, love. Me, truth. Truth cracked it open. Ethan confessed full. The flips were my idea.
Mom.
Claire warned against leveraging you. I flipped on her, blamed you to save face.
Blame.
The chain unbroken. Claire nodded. Tears real. I pushed back.
But he signed.
We both failed you.
Failed.
Plural. The room breathed. We forged a pact, joint therapy. Assets split fair. Tommy shuttling less. Loving more. Custody evened. Weeks alternating.
No supervised trines.
For him, we chorused. Spring thawed the ice. Literally and not. Court dismissed the emergency motion. Ruiz noting progress toward reconciliation. Papers filed. Amendments. Not shocks. The Sun-Times spun soft. Family feud fizzles. Hargroves hash it out. But endings debate. Was it happy, scars mending? Or tragic, trust forever fractured? Tommy thrived, acing spelling bees. Oblivious to depths. Ethan rebuilt. Small flips legit this time.
Claire? Stayed.
Wary wingwoman.
Me?
I gardened the backyard plot. Tomatoes pushing soil like hope. The shoebox stayed shut. Secrets sealed anew.
Revenge thought, no winners.
Just survivors. And in America, that's the real twist. Picking shards. Wondering if the glue holds or just glitters. One July 4th. Fireworks blooming over the lake. We gathered full circle. Picnic blankets spread. Tommy waved sparklers, etching skies. Ethan clapped my shoulder. Thanks, Mom. Claire smiled.
Tentative. Yeah.
For fighting. Fighting. Worth the controversy? Ask the jury of one me. I'd file those papers again. Shocked the world. Shook my soul. But birthed this fragile, flawed family. In the end, that's the American way, messy miracles. Debated under stars.